Nova Olson. I just was unclear. And if I am misinformed, I know I haven't been able to make it to the last couple of meetings that you guys have had. But watching video and going back, it seems as though about 80% of items have been tabled, like repeatedly over and over. So my question, when we're looking at this, understanding you guys have been faced with a really a mess here. So where are we with, I mean, in light of this, where are we with the forensic audit that is hopefully going to, I'm understanding that that should shed light on really getting to the bottom of some of these zeros and questions, and is that, am I correct in assuming a forensic audit should do that?
Yes, so the forensic audit, the RFP has been posted. We're waiting until the end date. There's an end date on the RFPs, RFQs, and once that end date happens, then we'll look at everyone that's applied and go through it and then choose who to go with.
Okay, do we have applications? Have we had responses?
I didn't check today, but I do not believe we have had one yet.
And it's posted on TML, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Have you possibly reached out to any local? I know I had many months ago trying to understand the process and really what a forensic audit. I know I found one online for Keene. So I don't know if that would be helpful. I mean, if nobody's responding, there's, you know, that's unfortunate for you guys, right? If nobody's responding. But I know you guys are anxious to get to the bottom of things, but I know for us as citizens, you know, like I'm a Six Sigma gal, you know, I want to look at things and get to the bottom of it, find out, you know, do a root cause analysis and find out, you know, and get a corrective action in place. That's sort of where I come from. So I really hope that you guys, I know that you have so many things, city administrator, you know, all these things, and I had a judge, you know, all this other stuff. But I mean, this budgeting issue has to be resolved so that you guys can go forward. And I just don't see, you guys have been spending so much time up here. I mean, I just don't see without help how you guys can get, you know, to the bottom of all this. So I really hope, at least from my standpoint, I realize I don't understand from the inside, you know, what you guys are doing day to day. But, you know, from my standpoint, I really hope that that's something you guys can maybe reach out and find out, you know, if there's, I realize that the problem is somebody has to apply, but maybe if there's some information that can be gleaned by other cities, especially a city the size of Keene, maybe more to our, you know, closer to what we do here, would help. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nova, I've reached out to a local law firm and gotten 3 potential candidates for firms that do forensic audits. So if that helps.
That's something.
Thank you, Scott.
Did you get that?
I did not.
Well, I sent it to the Texas Fire Suppression email.
Oh,
He's very selective in the emails he answers.
I do get 100+ emails a day.
I didn't get it because, you know, we can't do that.
I will look at those and add them to the list. Thank you.
But that's good news. I like to hear it.
Would anyone else like to speak?
You are sweet, thank you. I was gonna do that, but I was afraid if I stepped off of here, it would break the quorum. I wasn't sure.
You're still in the same room.
I didn't take geometry. I almost failed geometry.
We have to have one open.
That's a good one there. Or that one, either one, thank you. Thank you, thank you.
No,
Oh,
back in his
well,
house.
no. Right back in.
Here, I'll do this.
No, it doesn't matter.
It's okay. Thank you very
If I
much.
stand right here,
If you stand there, then that would help, but you don't have to do that. Thank you.
It is, if no one else would like to speak, it is 18:52. I will now close the public hearing for item 4A. At 18:52, I will now open item 4B, public hearing and consider approval of an ordinance adopting the 2023 tax rolls and fixing and levying municipal ad valorem taxes for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2023, and ending on September 30th, 2024, and for each fiscal year thereafter until otherwise provided at the rate of 0.516064 per 100 assessed valuation on all taxable property within the corporate limits of the city of Godley, Texas, as of January 1st, 2023.
We ask anybody if they wanna speak?
Let me guess, your name's Ann.
My question to you is very simple. Do you really think 13% tax increase is a reasonable amount? Is that reasonable? I think the people of Godley could possibly live with a 7%, but 13? I mean, that's what, 1 point or 2 points shy of the maximum that you can raise it?
It's close.
Very close. And it's the 11th hour.
I suspect it
Most-
would have been that rate regardless of what hour it was.
But most of
Michael
the
can-
people of
can say
Godley
more.
don't have a clue because they don't pay enough attention,
I understand that.
unfortunately, to what's going on. And I think if they did, they would be knocking on the doors. And they would be asking, why? Understand, there were mistakes made. We understand there's lots of paperwork stacked up somewhere. There's lots of bills that are coming in. But you're punishing the citizens for the mistakes of the people that were here.
Well, I think it's a little more complicated than that.
Yeah,
I
I
mean-
don't think it's
Is it?
punishment.
Yeah, I think
In the
so. I
grand
think there's a
scheme of
lot of
things?
things that have not been done in the city that perhaps maybe should have. Some money should have been spent in
Right.
past years that hasn't been. That's not necessarily a punishment, that's trying to recover.
But that's what it feels like.
Well, I understand
When
feelings.
you're the one paying the taxes.
But there's reason and then there's feelings, and so I would hope that the people would be more apt to
And
appreciate
it's-
reason versus
and it's-
feelings.
It's gonna be the families that this hurts the most.
Thankfully,
got 2 or
we've got
3
a
kids.
greater amount of people here to spread the pain out than we used to.
But that's not necessarily a reason to do it. We've got more people.
No, the reason to do it is because we need to do it.
But can't we do it at half?
No.
Can't we do it at half?
Knowing this
and
guy-
then
I understand
reassess-
what you're
I
saying,
would
but that
say
would
if
be
he
like
could do it
running
at
the
half, he
city
would do it at
halfway. So that's like
Well,
asking
the
us to
city's being run
reduce.
halfway already, because we have been looking at this
Right,
budget.
but we're not trying to do things
With
the
the
way
wrong
it was done
numbers.
before. We're trying to move forward and be better than
But
that.
this is exactly like before, because you don't have all the numbers. You don't have them. And the ones that you do have aren't correct. So this is exactly like before. How is this different?
Well, it's a lot different. I mean, before supposedly, they had the actual numbers. Now we don't, and so we're doing the best that we can with what we have.
And I understand that.
And there's
I do.
always the option that if we just suddenly get flooded with money and we've got billions of dollars in the accounts, we'll just lower the tax rate next year.
Well, but that's the thing. What if you're not?
Then we did the right thing.
Well, what if you break even?
Then we did the right thing.
No, I'm talking if you go half.
We're not going half.
No, we're not going to.
How about you go 7, 8? Something a little more
Yeah, I don't
reasonable,
think our
that the people of Godly can really, they can get hold of it, say, yeah, I can understand that. But almost the maximum increase in your first budget? What does that make them think you're gonna do on the next one?
Well, I hope they'll come in and talk to us about it and listen to what we have to say, and if it doesn't convince them, then I don't know what to say at that point.
Okay, well, and that's the thing, is a lot of us aren't convinced right now.
I got you.
And I understand what you're saying. You also have to take in consideration the people that are sitting up here, we're all going to be paying those same taxes. 'Cause
Oh, I
we
know.
all live in the city limits. We have to make those sacrifices as well.
I
Do I
understand
want my
that.
taxes to go up? No. But do I want better for my city? Yes. Do I want to say I need these things, but do I need to pay for these things? Yes, we do.
Right.
So we have to find the money somewhere,
And
or
that's-
we can't sit still like we're doing now.
And that's why you use your budget to bring in new businesses. And those new businesses are gonna take some of that tax burden off the people. It's going to. That's just how it works.
And I understand what you're saying, but it's easier said than just done. I mean, this has taken time to build the city. It's not like if we have needs now that have not been seen to, we can't go out there and just say, okay, we need 50 new businesses to carry this load.
Well,
It's
I'm not
I
an
mean, it
idiot. I
happens.
know how it works.
Yeah, and with all the people that's moved in here, we have to maintain a city for all the people that's moved in here.
Right, you have to maintain the city.
Correct, and advance, so along with all the advancement around us.
Exactly. And how are you gonna do that without the advancement of businesses? It's not just the housing that's coming in, it's the businesses. Some of that money needs to be going towards bringing in new business. It has to.
That's what our 4B committee's for, our economic development.
And has it been used?
The board is created, we're trying to find the bylaws that we can't find that are in existence right now.
So
So until
prior
that's
to
all
now,
happens, then,
go ahead.
right.
So prior to now, the last time the 4B committee was even used was during the park renovation. It was never really utilized. They gained $300,000 a year.
Right.
Could they have used that prior? Sure. That's not us. I guess it's somewhat me, but we can't fix what's done in the past. We have to move forward. I get a tax rate sucks going up. I'm a very fiscal conservative person. I did not want to present a tax increase.
Okay. Oh, no, and I understand. I do. I know that you guys are in the same boat as the rest of us. You are homeowners. You do pay your taxes. I'm just saying, as soon as these people get their next tax bill, the city's gonna implode. They are not gonna be happy.
Well, they're not going to be
Right.
happy. I mean, I understand that.
But that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in, and
Well, we do appreciate you
What was your
being
name?
here, and
my name's Cricket Lanker. I'm the,
Are you Chris's wife?
yeah. sort of.
Well,
Yes, I am.
nice to meet you.
Elizabeth is the real name.
Elizabeth, nice,
But thank you very much for
thank
listening.
you.
Appreciate you.
Would anybody else like to speak on 4B?
Sorry?
Would anyone else like to speak on 4B? I want everybody to speak. Figure that's why y'all came.
Can you explain to everybody what a no new revenue rate is?
It is a rate where you, oh man, this one's difficult to explain. It's a rate where you gain no new revenue on the old growth, you just gain revenue on the new growth.
So if the city adopted a no new revenue rate, what would that mean to taxpayers?
That means that current taxpayers would not pay anymore.
What is a voter approval tax rate?
That is in between the NNR and the VATR. That is what triggers a election for a tax rate.
No, not a VAT or E. So a voter approval tax rate is the max rate they can charge, which is last year's budget time adding 3.5%, I believe, is that right? And you guys are charging a little bit under that? Do you guys expect to have to call a voter approval tax rate election to raise taxes this year?
No.
You don't expect to do that. How does Godly's tax rate this year compare to other cities of similar size? Have you looked at that at all? Not that it's relatively relevant.
It's hard to compare to surrounding, like you take Joshua, everybody compares us to Joshua, but they have a massive.
They have
sales
massive
use
business. They have massive businesses.
Can't compare us to Granbury, they're larger and they have business. Once again, that's our problem, is we don't have business. We don't have the infrastructure for business. So unless we increase that infrastructure, which is where some of this is going, then we won't bring in business.
How much of the tax rate that you guys are proposing, you guys obviously did a budget, so you had a total taxable property value, and you're using the tax rate to draw from that what you need for your budget, to meet your budget. How much do you feel of your budget that you're proposing this year is based on overall years of neglect of maintenance and maintaining of facilities that were in place? Because and the reason let me tell you why I'm asking that question. So in some of the budget workshops, I heard that like every police vehicle for the most part needs to be replaced. I've heard
Except for the new Tahoes, yes.
I've heard every bit of respirators are multiple years out of life cycle for the fire department.
We just spent $160,000 of ARPA funds last year to replace some of those.
That the fire trucks are substantially old.
They are getting older as a fleet.
Okay, so you, again, consulted with other cities and how they conduct their budgeting and how they do this, correct? So do you guys have a plan in place to maintain the stuff that you're getting caught up to potentially offer some tax relief in the future and we don't run into a problem again where you're playing catch up? Like, for example, like a preventive maintenance program for stuff, a life cycle program for stuff, a way to navigate the future so this problem that doesn't happen again? Or are you, and that may be cart before the horse, but are you at least considering not falling into that trap again?
So we purchased something called iWorks a couple months ago. Will be the portal for citizen submittals is already done. I just haven't released it yet. Just until our public works can get fully trained on that. It'll be another couple weeks before they're done with that. We have 2 meetings a week with iWorks right now. It will track all of our preventative maintenance. So like right now, we had a cop car that was 2 months out of registration. So, I mean, we got it taken care of, but like those things can be tracked in iWorks and it tells you 90 days ahead or 60 days ahead, hey, you have this PM due on this brush truck. Or hey, your registration goes out in 6 months, 3 months, whatever we set the parameters at. So yes, we are thinking ahead. As that comes online and everything gets put in there, that will be tracked in a more fluid way rather than right now where I couldn't tell you whenever all the registrations go out on all the vehicles unless someone brings it to me or I go and look at their stickers.
You have department heads?
I do.
Okay. Also, some other municipalities and other school districts and municipalities outside of Godly, they do a lot of bulk stuff and grouping, and I don't know if it's an option for Godly. For example, Joshua ISD has an agreement with United Co-op, which for well over 10 years locks in a set rate to mitigate inflation. I don't know if that's an option for Godly. They also do bulk fuel with other municipalities. In the future, if you guys haven't considered that, possibly consider that to fix some costs due to inflationary concerns. I don't know if you guys have done that at all, but there are some things like that that in the future can mitigate this. But again, I'm sorry that you guys have had to. I saw the last couple of years' budget, and I don't know how you made sense of it, and I'm sure it was difficult. So thank you.
Thank you.
Just to answer your question, we are looking at co-ops. Would anybody else like to speak? It is 19:08. I will now close the public hearing for item 4B. We'll now move into public comment. Greg Cooper.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Good evening, council. You have volunteered for a very difficult job at a very difficult time to serve the citizens of Godly, Texas. I'm sorry I must keep coming back here. 5 minutes goes fast. Hopefully a case can be laid out which clearly and undeniably explains to you what is mandated and you're required to do. What I will lay out tonight is part of the body of work that I've been providing to you, what I have brought at multiple allegations of employee misconduct up to criminal allegations. It's alleged that Godly Police Department employees have violated Godly Employee Handbook, Godly Police Department General Orders, the Code of Criminal Procedure, the Penal Code, specifically the chief and the sergeant. The city of Godly is required to investigate these allegations. It is not a choice to investigate these. You're a council, and you do not have the power to decide to investigate or not investigate. You must, per your oath and applicable government documents. Tonight, I will lay out and verify the local government codes, City of Godly Employee Handbook, Code of Criminal Procedure, Penal Codes, and the Godly Police Department General Orders that apply. Local Government Code, you guys are familiar with this, Type 2 Organization Municipal Government, Subtitle B, Chapter 22. Powers and duties of the mayor. The mayor the mayor or mayor pro tem in absence of is the chief executive officer of the municipality. The mayor shall at all times actively ensure the laws and ordinances of the municipality are properly carried out. Investigative of criminal referrals would fall under this purview. This shall means you will. It does not mean it's a choice. The word shall. City of Godly Employee Handbook. Section 15, performance standards. Grounds for immediate dismissal of an employee may include, but are not limited to, falsifications of official documents or records. An arrest affidavit would meet that. Intentional mistreatment of citizens so grievous that it leads to the damage or reflects negatively on the city. A very public arrest when you're not supposed to arrest to shame people in front of City Hall would qualify. Violation of the ordinances of the City of Godly or of these rules. I have laid out multiple ordinances that the chief of police failed to follow. Non-compliance with any written or established city or departmental policy or any reason or no reason as deemed appropriate by the director of the mayor. The mayor, in his discretion, may elect to have the appeal heard by the city council. The city council will have full authority over the meeting and will determine what evidence may be introduced and who will participate in that. Moving on to the Code of Criminal Procedures. Title 1, Code of Criminal Procedure. Chapter 2, General Duties of Officers. Please give me 1 minute notice if you can when we get there. Duties and powers. Article 2.13 states, in part, it is the duty of every peace officer to preserve the peace within the officer's jurisdiction. The officer shall use all lawful means. This criminal code procedure has not been followed. Cantrell has failed at this duty, and so has Arbuthnot. the officer shall, not may, not can, the officer shall give notice to the magistrate of all offenses committed within the officer's jurisdiction when the officer has good reason to believe there has been a violation of penal law. I've laid that out to you before. I've given you the documents tonight. Number 3, falsifying an arrest affidavit qualifies. This criminal code procedure has not been followed. Penal Code, Title 8, Offenses Against Public Administration, Chapter 37, Perjury or Other Falsification. Perjury, a person commits an offense if with intent to deceive and with knowledge of the statement's meaning, he makes a false statement under oath or swears to the truth of a false statement previously made by the statement is required or authorized by law to be made under oath. Allegations of perjury have been made. These are formal allegations. I showed motive last week.
Greg, you have 1 minute.
1 minute. Now we're on to the general orders. These are the police department's general orders. These were approved in 2022. These are not old. Procedures states, in part, supervisors are responsible for the discipline of employees under their charge and held accountable. This applies to Chief Cantrell. Supervisors shall investigate or cause to be investigated all allegations of employee misconduct. Now, on to Procedures 4, General Order 2.4. A classification states that how allegations will be classified. This falls under a Class 1, which states in part allegations of violations of the law. This is an allegation of violation of the law. Internal Affairs deals with Class 1. Internal Affairs is an allegation, or a Class 1 is any allegation of criminal wrongdoing. The allegations made against Cantrell are a Class 1, and they are criminal. Criminal states in part an internal affairs investigator or an outside agency will conduct an investigation into the allegation of criminal conduct. This absolves you of any conflict of interest. It gives you the authority to go outside to do it. Have a good night, folks. If you have any questions about any of this, let me know.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper.
That is all for public comment. Item 5A, public hearing and consider approval of an ordinance adopting and approving the budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2023 and ending September 30th, 2024. Do y'all have any further questions on the agenda or on the budget?
Mayor Pro Tem, before you call the vote, it's a record vote, so we need to call each person individually, and then we'll take account of the way they vote. Same thing for the next item as well.
I make a motion to approve an ordinance adopting and approving the budget for fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2023 and ending September 30th, 2024.
Second.
I got a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? No further discussion. Councilman Yarborough,
Aye.
Councilman Rodriguez,
Aye.
Councilmember Cornelison. No. Councilmember Pappenfuss, aye. Motion passes 3-1. Item 5B, public hearing and consider approval of an ordinance adopting the 2023 tax rolls and fixing and levying municipal ad valorem taxes for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2023 and ending on September 30th, 2024, and for each fiscal year thereafter until otherwise provided at the rate of .516064 per 100 assessed valuation on all taxable property within the corporate limits of the city of Godley, Texas, as of January 1st, 2023. I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of .516064, which is effectively a 23.1136% increase over the no new revenue tax rate.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? No further discussion. Councilmember Yarborough.
Aye.
Councilmember Rodriguez.
Yes.
Councilmember Cornelison.
No.
Councilmember Pappenfuss. Yes. Motion passes 3-1. Item 5C, discuss and consider approval of ratifying the property tax increase reflected in the fiscal year 2023 and 2024 budget. I make a motion to approve the ratification of the property tax increase reflected in the fiscal year 23-24 budget.
Second.
I got a motion and a second to ratify. Any further discussion? No further discussion. Councilmember Yarborough,
Aye.
Councilmember Rodriguez,
Aye.
Councilmember Cornelison,
No.
Councilmember Pappenfuss, yes. Motion passes 3-1. Does anybody have any community interest items? No community interest items. It is 19:20. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? No further discussion. Scott?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Show us adjourned at 19:20.